I've got a job for you. You ain't gonna like it. Not every game mission has to knock your socks off, but a terrible mission can put a whole game at risk. Sucky jobs in real life come with side benefits and big payoffs, like your kid gets to eat or something. No game forces you to play it. They have much weaker levers to get a player to do stuff they don't want to do. There's not much stopping a player from walking away the second a game bogs down for any reason. So a clunky mission can completely break the relationship between the player and the game. I bet right now you've got a bunch of bad mission examples in mind from older games, but these are timeless problems. Many bad missions follow common patterns, and they're just as much of an issue today as they've ever been. Any modern game is one poor decision away from running into these same problems. Let's learn from game design history so we're not doomed to repeat it. Today, we're talking about terrible missions in games. Alright, your first mission is to enjoy the rest of summer before it's gone, with some new clothes from today's sponsor, Fabletics. Fabletics is about lightweight, comfortable fabrics. They sent us a bunch of stuff from their summer lineup. Check this out. Mike's been wearing their stuff on walks for the last couple weeks. They've got great gym and workout gear, as well as some nice, breathable, but classy casual stuff to keep cool at the office. Fabletics is available in lots of sizes, from extra small to 4X, and they're very affordable with their VIP program. New tees, 3 for $19, shorts for $10, pants for $19. Everything is 80% off for new VIP members. Head over there, you'll find something you like. Check the link in the description to get up to 80% off anything on the whole site in your first order when you sign up to be VIP. Thanks, Fabletics. Okay, so let's divide this up. You can make a bad mission a million different ways, but a lot of them fall into a handful of categories. First up, let's wreck a mission by demanding just a little too much from players. Mario Sunshine is a classic example of a game that's fun to casually finish, but is a real slog to get to 100% completion. The pachinko machine trips up a lot of people with its super wonky physics. If that doesn't stop you, the Watermelon Festival might. There's all the blue coins to collect that you can't easily track. It's not much fun. The game's later challenges really start to show the cracks in the physics and general design, but few missions get as frustrating as the infamous Poison River. Just getting to the stage as intended is dreadful. The entrance is locked behind this pipe located on this tiny island, but that pipe is blocked off with this yellow goo that you'll need Yoshi for. Simple enough. Yoshi can't swim, so you have to take a 3 to 5 minute trek riding Yoshi and hopping between a bunch of boats. The boats are very slow, and the game's twitchy controls make it extremely easy to either fall off the boat or miss a jump and fall in the water. Either way, you'll have to start over. Dig deep and you'll claim your reward. Possibly the worst stage in the series. The Poison River seems like a simple red coin mission. You have to ride along this lily pad to collect them all. It's a lot tougher than it looks. The water current is strong, so the lily pad moves very fast, and steering with the water pack makes it tough to collect every coin in one go. But don't fall off because yep, that. The Poison River is poison. Missing a coin is almost guaranteed, but there is a pipe at the end, so I guess we'll just go back to the start and... Wait. Delfino Plaza? I have to do the Yoshi trip again? If I died, I'd respawn at the head of the river. This is worse than dying. Doing both the setup and the stage proper in the intended way is awful. If you don't care about 100%ing the game for the sake of it, this is a great one to skip over. But there are better, unintended ways of completing both parts of this. For the first half, just take Yoshi to the bazaar area, run along the wall, clip through, and do a bunch of short hops towards the island until you can walk on the ocean floor. From there, it's a straight shot to the pipe. For the Poison River itself, you can actually walk underneath the water surface by jumping into the waterfall at the end. Walk underwater, do some short hops to grab the coins you missed, then backflip onto the start. This is way easier than the intentional way, and it's the only way I do it from now on. The Poison River is a classic bad mission. Imprecise physics and harsh punishments for small mistakes are never a good combination, no matter the series' pedigree. Thank God for small glitches. Any game that goes from a relaxed, low-precision controls experience can throw players for a loop if the game starts to demand more, like in the late game or optional stuff. Loose controls can be tolerable for a big chunk of the game, then intolerable later. We Love Katamari is probably the best Katamari game. It's my favorite, at least. You know how Katamari works by now. Most basic missions just have you roll up as much as you can into the ball within a time limit, but many side missions add a new angle. Instead of rolling up just whatever, you're going to have to roll up specific things, or roll underwater with different physics, or race your Katamari while it's stuck moving forward, or keep a fire alive by rolling up as much fuel for it as you can before it burns out. It's all fun and games, until you get to the Cowbear mission. The original Katamari had two missions, Ursa Major and Taurus, which had you roll up the largest bear or cow you could find respectively. We Love Katamari just crashes those two together. A farmer wants you to roll up one bear or one cow within 10 minutes, the biggest one you can find. One problem though, when I say one, I mean one. The stage ends immediately once you grab your cow, bear, or cowbear. The larger, better scoring cows and bears are too big at the start to roll up, so you'll need to dodge a lot of toys and calves and cubs and whatnot if you want to get the best result. Sounds like Katamari to me. Though, there's one more catch. I'm afraid the game has a very loose definition of what counts as a cow or bear. Teddy bears, people in costumes, statues, road cones with cow spot patterns, your cousin. The level is a minefield of troll prizes scattered everywhere. They even have little run-ending landmines right in front of you at the starting point. It's really frustrating, and really funny. It's not that bad as long as you aren't taking it too seriously, but going for a high score is one of the most frustrating challenges in the whole series. You could easily be cruising for 7 minutes, just for something to knock you into a troll object and wreck the run. Katamari was never meant to be a precise game. The physics aren't all that predictable, and the camera can have a mind of its own. But in the normal game, this isn't a big deal. This mission is a perfect example of an entire category of annoying mission design, where what the game asks you to do and what the game is good at letting you do come into conflict. A good idea for a mission is only as good as its execution, and if you can't make the mission feel right to play, that'll wreck it right there. Unpolished controls will do it. Yooka-Laylee had a big legacy to live up to. With so many employees from the golden age of Rare, Playtonic couldn't exactly get away from the comparisons to Rare's previous games. It's not like they were shying away. Yooka-Laylee was pitched as a successor to Banjo-Kazooie. It's dripping with homages to Rare classics. But that's still a high bar to have to clear. Yooka-Laylee has its moments. It's a nice little 3D collectathon platformer, but it's not the most polished game in the world. It's visually fine, but I'm talking more about how it plays. Yooka-Laylee is probably at its best when it's riffing off Banjo-Kazooie, but not all of the Rare tribute gameplay elements work quite as well as their inspirations. The most frustrating of them all is this looker here, Kartos the Minecart. You wanted a Donkey Kong Country minecart stage tribute, right? You got him. Kartos is somewhere in each of the game's 5 stages, and you have to complete his challenge to get a pagey in each one. Kartos stages are 2.5D track sections where you jump, boost, shoot, and break around obstacles while collecting as many gems as you can. Don't get hit and meet the gem quota, and the pagey is yours. First off, the camera is a real pain. It's rigidly attached to the character, so any kind of turn makes the camera jerk around. It snaps around every single time you land from a jump. The 2.5D element even works against it, where if the track turns toward the camera, there's no peek forward. You just can't see ahead to what you're about to roll into. Your jump has a fixed height, no matter how you press A. The cart's boost ability is super overcharged, and winds up playing terribly with the bad camera. The brake isn't bad, but it can only be used briefly, and the acceleration back to normal speed feels off. your cannon fires straight ahead, always, even if the track goes in and out. Every ability also has an obnoxious 5-second cooldown to deal with. This all combines to make the cart feel clunky and imprecise on every level. The stage design demands a level of skill the controls don't want to give you. The first couple aren't a problem, but the rest have gems placed haphazardly around obstacles, and maybe like they were placed with a different control behavior in mind. Hitboxes on obstacles are deceptive, so it's harder than it should be to bounce off enemies to reach higher routes. The movement cycles aren't even synced up properly, so some runs will have objects and enemies in the wrong place, making some gems and routes impossible to get to without getting hit. There's nothing wrong with the basic idea of the DKC cart level, but you can't just take the concept and expect it to work. It doesn't matter how clever or how faithful they've been, without overhauling the camera and controls, this minigame is just not that fun to complete. See ya, Kartos. Thanks for nothing. Some types of terrible missions are timeless. They rarely work, but for some reason they also never seem to go out of style, like tailing missions. Breath of the Wild has a snooze fest of a tailing mission. The Shrine Quest, The Lost Pilgrimage. Oki, this little guy, goes through a trial and has to walk to a shrine in the forest. You're just there to keep an eye out for danger. The trial is an invisible path to a shrine that the Korok will walk, and you will follow behind at a distance. If you stray from the path, you'll get taken back to the start in the typical Lost Woods fashion. There's almost literally nothing on the path though. There's a wolf or two, but no big deal. Oki's the only real obstacle. If he spots you, the pilgrimage doesn't count, and he'll go back to the start to try again. You'll have to use some stealth here, which generally just means hanging way back. Oki's range of hearing and vision isn't clear. There's no indication on screen as to what the limits could be, or if you're going to run into them. Sometimes Oki can spot or hear you from a ways away. Sometimes there's a scripted event for him to react to, and sometimes you can run right behind him and he won't react. Since it's so difficult to get a read, the safe thing to do is to hang way back and stay crouched. And that's what makes it dull. The only challenge might be to keep him from blending with the background. Hang back too much and you might lose him in the grass. You can use your rune abilities to help with the contrast, but that's not too complicated either. So you've got something like 7 minutes of slowly trailing Oki, with no room to try or do much of anything else, lest we start over. It's an especially jarring mission type in Breath of the Wild, a game whose very core is so often about solving problems in your own way. It's not at all difficult to complete, just tedious. The lack of feedback and the lack of action make a classic bad combo for a tailing mission. At best, inoffensive. At worst, 7 minutes I could have spent on shield surfing or something. Tailing missions aren't the only classic terrible mission style. The other half of the gruesome twosome are escort missions. They're at best tolerable, and more often feel like they're fundamentally designed to irritate you. Can you name even one that's thought of as a high point of its game? I couldn't come up with one. There are so many bad escort missions because they're susceptible to so many different unique reasons for their attitude. They can fall apart with terrible pathfinding. Spyro 2's Protect the Alchemist mission makes you defend a man with no sense of self-preservation as he meanders his way around the level. Like, he could walk on the path to the left here, but instead he'll go around in circles and wander just directly into enemies. Really, just wait a second, man. Let me get up there. It's designed as a challenge, but the way it's presented is so farcical that it's way more annoying than fun. But why stop there, when you can make the character you're protecting actively repelling? Zelda Skyward Sword pairs you up with Scrapper, a sassy robot, and he needs to bring a large urn of water to the top of Elden Volcano. As you approach the region, instead of being able to land at the volcano's summit like normal, Scrapper gets a case of the fuse, gets impatient, and lands at the base of the volcano. Yes, he's more than capable of flying to the top, but we have to pad this game out, you know? You're gonna walk up there with Scrapper in tow, and he'll whine the whole way. It's clearly supposed to be comedic, but either something got lost in translation, or someone's sense of humor is wrong, as no jokes land during the whole climb. You've already climbed this volcano, So this mission boils down to a forced retread on a chunk of content with an annoying modifier slapped on top. Great job, team. Escorting one NPC can be bad enough, but what about 3? Jak 2 is an already difficult game with a handful of annoying escort missions, but let's double down. Babysit 3 knuckleheads as you make a 5-minute trek through a sewer to blow up a statue. Enemies ambush you from every angle, and there are 0 checkpoints. The trio might actually help you a bit on some fights, but it's mostly up to you. You've got to be on high alert all the time, spinning the camera around all over the place so enemies don't land a cheap shot from off screen. The escorts aren't even that much of a pain to listen to. Their dialogue isn't bad, though since there are no checkpoints, even that will quickly wear out its welcome by the 4th time you hear the same line.
Quiet, here comes pretty boy.
This one might be the most fixable of the bunch. Sometimes your escort decides to take matters into their own hands. Half of Dead Rising is about escorting survivors to a safe house, but the AI is infamous. The survivors show next to no self-preservation, and will run right into zombie hordes. They'll even try fighting them. Emphasis on try. You'll need to take them by the hand or carry them, just to have one less variable to deal with, and to help out the game's awful pathfinding. As you amass larger groups of survivors, these issues compound. Plus, there's always that ticking clock in the background, making you get more frustrated as you lose time fixing survivor mistakes. People love Dead Rising despite its escort missions. No matter the angle a game takes, there are so many ways for this mission type to go wrong. Bad pathfinding, bad self-preservation, bad checkpointing, and bad comedy can easily wreck the fun, no matter what else happens. Tread very lightly. Alright, let's do a weird one next. What can we find in the narrative box here? Aha! You can wreck a mission by making its characters really unlikable. Like, really unlikable. Ace Attorney is a game that lives or dies by the quality of its characters. The mystery itself is important, sure, but if a case features a lot of annoying or actively unpleasant characters, it'll likely sink in the eyes of fans. But there have been tons of games, and a number of mediocre cases in the series. That's all normal for a run-of-the-mill forgettable Ace Attorney case. What really cranks up the juice is when that annoying factor bleeds into the actual gameplay. Turnabout Big Top, 3rd case of Justice for All, is really bad. It's got other problems, but its cast of characters is one of the most annoying ones in the entire series. Most of these circus performers range from unpleasant to arrestable, and I'm not talking about the murder. But there's one character who's annoying enough to actually get in the way of gameplay. Lawrence Mo Curls. Mo is a very, very unfunny clown. He himself admits he's bad at his job, having been unable to make an audience laugh in at least a decade. But he's not one to give up, even when he really, really should. When brought up to the witness stand, Mo can't get to the point and rolls right into his bad stand-up routine. This goes on for a while, and it's bad enough that the judge literally cannot handle his nonsense anymore and demands that you be as efficient as possible in your cross-examination. So far, I know what you're thinking. This sounds great. Usually in Ace Attorney cross-exams, you're heavily encouraged to press every statement. You can get more info out of your witnesses, which will help you poke holes in their testimony. If not, pressing can get some goofy character moments that can be their own reward. But with Mo, you can't do that. If the statement you press leads to Mo wasting time with bad jokes and puns, you're the one to get penalized for some reason. I know Ace Attorney's legal system is nuts, but this is pushing it. I'm literally just doing my job. This is the prosecution's witness. So you have to press them on only the correct statements. Somehow, you have to know what the witness will or won't turn into a tangent. This naturally can lead to a lot of trial and error, even when you press a seemingly relevant statement, and still get hit with a penalty. A gimmicky cross-examination like this isn't an inherently bad idea. It'd probably work well with a more rounded cast of characters. But every action you take feels like a punishment. Either terrible jokes, boring tangents, or both, and a punishment that makes you start over from the top. Grinding through Mo is a very annoying sequence in a very annoying case. Of course, you could make a terrible mission by designing one that makes no sense. Real simple. Shadow the Hedgehog has a terrible hero mission in Central City. The big bad planted a bunch of time bombs that you have to go around and disarm. Find 20 of them in 8 minutes, or else.
The city is
What you need to do is pick up the suck cannon off a nearby enemy and use that to suck up the bombs. Comb the area and suck as much as you can. But a handful are scripted to explode as you approach them. There's nothing you can do, and it's not clear that you didn't screw up somehow. I thought I was doing something wrong when I first did this, like I was being too slow maybe. But nope, they're just not disarmable. Imagine playing a collectathon, but half of the collectibles just cease to exist as you approach them. No explanation, no reason, just things happening. That's this mission in a nutshell. You don't have a ton of time to dawdle either. It can be easy to get lost or miss a bomb, and there's even a part of the stage blocked behind a wall that you can easily overlook and miss a few back there. The game's structure makes it possible to avoid playing this stage if you take some other routes, so I tended to avoid playing this mission altogether. But if you're going for 100%, this will make you tear your hair out. Of all the terrible missions in this video, this is one of them. Your mission is to write, in the comments, about terrible missions. Since this episode was pretty heavy on the classics, if you've got a newer game with bad mission design to mention down there, that would be perfect. Bad missions aren't just relics of the past. Any mission that takes control out of your hands, wastes your time, gives over-the-top punishments, or is just impossible to do the right way can bring a game to a halt. Keep an eye out for no-win scenarios, and mission accomplished.